Hi everybody, we're going to talk about the eclipse that's it's in action at the moment. We're in between waves as I'm doing this video, and I haven't been doing a video for a while, guys. I've been quite busy and spending a little bit more time on Instagram, but now I'm going to get back in full force and swing and get back to doing some more YouTube stuff because I personally like YouTube a lot more as a platform. And so this eclipse coming up, we're in between waves. It's already here. The 8th of April, 9th in Australia, so it's going to be early morning at 4:17 a.m. here in Australia. We don't see it in Australia, so it's going to be more visible in America. So I think in America there's going to be a magnitude of events. And just as I do this, I've just been having a quick check out on the world events at the moment, and yeah, there's been an earthquake around New York, I just saw, and there's been a massive one in Taiwan. So when we're in the eclipse season, the Earth magnetic field is very unstable, so these kind of things can happen. And it is interesting that it has, so I would expect a lot more. We're in a fiery eclipse, cardinal fire of Aries. So it's strong fire. It is very fast, very quick. It's initiating energy. It's a very daring, dynamic energy. And I personally, the energy of Aries is quite intense, but I think we kind of need that at this point in time. Now, I think one of the key things about this eclipse is that it's going to be interesting to see that it falls into the second decan in the house perspective in astrology. As seasoned astrologers will know, we divide the house into decans, and that meaning that there's can be 3 parts of the house, each pertaining to 10 degrees. This one falls into the second one. And I've just got my Raphael astrology book here, and this is one of the very old ones on mundane astrology. And it's interesting because I just want to put out there that he says in the second decan that of Aries, of course this is, imprisonment and sadness of some king and a danger to death to him, and the corruption of trees bearing fruit and things of growing on the earth during this eclipse. So we're going to have to see the vegetation. I personally think there's probably a drought coming up because we have all this Aryan energy coming in, which is pretty hot, spicy fire, but we've also got Saturn in Pisces, which will restrict the rain flow, the water flow. But it's interesting to note that, King Charles, I think he's king now. I haven't really been paying attention to the media, and I know he has been sick with so-called cancer, so it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, right? Because the imprisonment and sadness of some king and a danger of death to him, is this going to play out in that way? We will see in the next, I guess, 12 to 13 months, because the eclipses usually affect this time or this period. So they're usually just not on the date. They usually can have an effect for the next year or so. So especially solar eclipses, total eclipses. And so I personally think one of the good vibes from this eclipse, and I'm wearing my red cap here because I love the bringing in the Martian energy, which is needed, right? Because all this Aryan energy is going to trigger the entrepreneurial spirit, the spirit of independence, which I think is needed. And we've got a lot of Aryan energy coming in. We've got Venus in Aries. We've also got Mercury retrograde in Aries. And then next year we're going to have Neptune and Saturn ingress into Aries as well. And I think that's going to be a very, very important time in 2025 when that energy comes in. But I'm optimistic about the energies because I think the spirit of the entrepreneur really needs to come out. People really need to start thinking on their own terms. They need to really bring out the spirit of independence, start being independent, taking risks. Aries is a sign of taking risks. So if we're looking at a project, we want to start, initiate something really, if there's something we really want to do, have the balls to do it. This is how I'm reading this eclipse, right? Because when it's in conjunction to Chiron in Aries, you know, we're going to become aware, I think, as a collective, of the wounded archetypal masculine, which is really, really important because it's being absolutely decimated at the moment. So I think the masculine principle, I think as a collective, people are going to recognize the wound around that. And that's going to be really, really important. So people may harness this Aryan energy. I think really to get in tune with this eclipse is really harness that Aryan energy. You know, become the emperor, like in the tarot card. Become the martial artist, the warrior, the archetype of the warrior. Or, you know, that spirit of real masculinity and taking control of the physical body, strengthen it, get it strong, do some martial arts, really, really work the body. I think this eclipse is going to stimulate people to really want to do this. And so this is what I've kind of noticed. I mean, people are a bit crazy on the roads, right? So you got to be careful of this on the roads, because Aries is the sign of the daredevil. So avoid speeding, taking risks, things like this, or provoking arguments, right? Because Aries rules the head. People can get very hot-headed. And, you know, as the Mercury's in retrograde at the moment in Aries, you know, when it comes down to don't be so impulsive when it comes to signing off on things and contracts and things like this, right? Sometimes our thinking can be quicker. We want to get things done. We can get extremely impatient. So we've got to be careful of this. Now, because I'm a practitioner of Chinese medicine and medical astrology, right? I've done a cell salt series on tissue salts, obviously. And I think people who have a lot of Aryan type energy, or have had medical conditions such as they've got high blood pressure, glaucoma, temper problems or brain issues, people have had strokes, mental illness, bipolar, ADHD, things like this. It's a really good time, well, for the Aryan type particularly, but I think a lot of us at the moment who are feeling this Aryan energy, and you can feel quite highly strung and tense. Potassium phosphate, the Kali phos, is a very, very good salt to take at this time, so you can have that in kind of high doses, which is really good. It's one of the best salts for anxiety. It's also very good salt for stroke rehabilitation and things like this. So, you know, our testosterone and our adrenal glands and our especially testosterone and hormone levels can increase and or decrease at this time. And so it's also, if you need medical procedures and things like this, you want to avoid it around the head, particularly because Aries rules the head, the brain, and the eyes as well. So, I mean, this eclipse can, you know, also provoke fevers, things like this. I've noticed clinically a lot of people coming in sick with fevers, but it's also you just got to be careful around accidents for people who are really, really into the daredevil stuff and things like this. You know, it's very, very important to do this. And you know, dogs can act out on this level as well, because Mars rules, there's a Martian energy involved in this, and that rules the energy of dogs. They can get a little feistier, they can escape, and I think it's a good time to exercise them more, keep them happy. Also, you know, just got to watch the tempers for sure with this, around this eclipse and the energies. Watch what energies you're actually projecting out to people. That's really, really important, because we need good, healthy outlets for these energies. And I just wanted to say too, just on a quick note, that for those who understand their astrology charts, particularly if they're a Leo rising or born under a new moon phase, because if you're born under the new moon phase, the sign of Leo and the sun's really important. And if you've got a Leo rising, the sun's really important. So you need to pay extra attention to the total eclipses, because you're actually ruled by the sun, and it's very important to understand where this falls in your astrological chart, so we can know how to navigate that terrain and to help ourselves the best way. Because opportunities do come our way with eclipses, but there are blind spots as well, and where they hit, you know, things can go, wow, where the hell did that actually really come from? So it's an interesting time. And obviously too, right, the Aryan energy is all about war. So there's, I know the eclipse waves moving through America. I know America's going to be really going to get hit. Yeah, it's going to be interesting what happens in the States. I mean, obviously I'm down here in Australia, but yeah, I think America's going to really cop. I know they were behind the scenes. I was listening to someone who's an astrologer in Texas saying that they were trying to slip in legislation around drafting for war. So I think there is real potential for war, because we're talking the sign of Aries can initiate this, and we can see what will happen. Hopefully nothing on that level will, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be something big happen around this. So, but I think on the positive note is, and getting back to the spirit of entrepreneurship, entrepreneur is kind of like the French word, I think, to take a risk or something around that. So I think for people who have felt like they're losing job opportunities or not having so many opportunities, it's an important time to really give birth to the spirit of the entrepreneur, because I think the entrepreneur is actually ruled by Aries. It's cardinal fire. It's a good initiator. It's a great initiator of starting new projects and new energies. And I really think that for people who want to really try something different, then now's the time to really take the risk to do it. I think that's really important, because I think we need to become as independent as we can. And this is what, especially when Neptune's going to ingress into Aries, we need to really become this. And as a collective, because those outer planets rule the unconscious, that's Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. When Neptune ingresses into Aries next year, as a collective, I think people are going to start thinking, you know what, I really don't give a shit what the government is saying. I want to actually, this is what I think and this is what I'm going to do. And they're going to really take charge of their own energies, take initiative. They're going to take control of their own lives and go, yep, I'm going to do this. I'm going to start this business and I'm going to do it this way. And I really don't give a shit what anyone thinks. And I think that's important. That's one of the good things about Aries. It can be a pretty rough sign, a little bit aggressive, but it's also like, it's one of those things that, yeah, I'm going to do it my way. And probably as Ayn Rand would say, I would say embrace that, the virtue of selfishness, and embrace and encourage people to have the self-esteem to pursue their destiny with whatever it is, because I think it really now is the time for the spirit of the entrepreneur to really come out and offer the value you have to the world. This is really important, and I think around this eclipse time, hopefully people will really get triggered and motivated to do that. So I just wanted to have a quick word on that, and I'm getting back onto my platform again and starting to do some regular videos. It's been an interesting 3 months for me. I'm finishing off my book on the cell salt astrology and doing my online course for that as well. Just getting all that kind of in the pipeline, in the motion, and look to get that done by the end of the year. So thanks for listening, guys, and enjoy the ride of the total eclipse in Aries. It's the title of it actually should be called Wildfire. It's a fiery one. So yeah, just and I just want to add one note too, for people who are really getting pulled into the underworld emotionally and things like this. It's really important to get treatments. Acupuncture is really good. Any kind of body work, really process that emotion through the body. It's really important at these times, because the body can get tighter. When the earth magnetic field's unstable like this, it can put a lot of pressure, and you can feel the pressure on the body, a lot of change. So yeah, it's really good to take time out to look after yourself and get treatment. So I just wanted to throw that one in too, and we'll be in touch shortly with more videos. And thanks for listening, guys. Always appreciated.